we have a very brief announcement, an exciting announcement that I would like to make. My name is Melody Barnes, and I'm the chair of the Aspen Forum for Community Solutions and the Opportunity Youth Incentive Fund. And just want to spend a few moments sharing some information with you. But I'm going to start out with the question for you. What if we told you that 7 million young men and young women had simply disappeared? That they are no longer in our nation's schools, that they are not in our workplaces, they'd simply disappeared. And what if I then told you that those young men and those young women touched by the juvenile justice system or slipping through our foster care system or had dropped out of our schools, not only had their futures impaired, but the cost of that to the nation was about $252 billion every year. Or over the lifetime of those young men and young women, $4.75 trillion to the nation over their lifetimes. When I was pleased and proud to serve as the domestic policy advisor to this president, we convened a council, the White House Council on Community Solutions, that looked at that issue, looked at that set of problems, and took on not only why these young men and young women were disconnected from work, disconnected from education, but why some communities were doing such an amazing job of reconnecting them to those institutions, and why these cross-sector collaboratives in communities were doing such an amazing job of taking on some of our nation's biggest challenges. That council consisted of 26 individuals, CEOs, nonprofit leaders, cultural and arts leaders, college presidents, philanthropists, and others. Some of them are in this room, Republicans and Democrats. Nancy Rubin was on that council, John Bridgeland was on that council. It was led by Patty Stonecipher. And they made recommendations to the president about a year ago. And last year I joined you, and I was pleased to announce that the Aspen Institute would be the home for the Aspen Forum and for the Opportunity Youth Incentive Fund. That when called, Walter and Elliot answered that call and said that this could serve as a platform for our work. And what I'm going to announce to you today, we think is extremely exciting and to let you know what we've been doing for the past year. But before I do that, I'd like to ask Jamil Alexander to come forward just for about 2 minutes and tell you why this work is so important. Jamil is a graduate of the Crispus Attucks Youth Build Charter School. He's on the Opportunity Youth Leadership Council, and he is a fine example of why we're doing the work that we're doing. Jamil?
Thank you, Ms. Mel. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jamil Alexander, once an Opportunity Youth. Now I'm voice for them and a voice for national service. My early childhood years in Philadelphia, I was raised in a 20-person household, 3-bedroom row home, 2 floors, and a basement that was converted to 3 more rooms and a half bath where my sisters, cousins, and I stayed. I shared a room with my older cousin, a hip-hop graffiti artist, and my third roommate was the oil heater that heated the whole house. The car garage was transformed to a place of storage for food with a deep freezer. From the donations from the food bank, it's still like we never did have enough food. As each month grew to an end, I always anticipated the first of the month for our monthly field trip to the supermarket. As I went through childhood, going through a divorce, I was labeled as a problem child. I can recall the sessions with the social worker at the DHS in Philly during this era. I also remember my music teacher, back in middle school, now shut down due to funding. He would ask me, "Why are you so angry?" He would let me stay after school and literally beat the drums. From 6th grade to 8th grade, he helped me to learn and master and skillfully play and use each tom-tom, cymbal, hi-hat, snare, bass until I made it through the divorce and was featured at my 8th grade graduation. By the time I attended high school, sharing clothes was now just hand-me-downs. I got tired of it. Fighting had become a way of territorial expression, meaning that I was from West Philly and I could hang with the best of them in North Philly because that's where my school was. I was introduced to the game. I was introduced to it as an avenue, a way to get money and provide for myself, not realizing the distraction and the destruction I would cause for my community. I failed the 9th grade, transferred to another school, got caught, mandated to do community service at a place that I knew nothing about in York City, and was introduced to a life-changing experience, Youth Build AmeriCorps, at Crispus Attucks. Youth Build AmeriCorps is an opportunity for young people to get a diploma, GED, while rebuilding low-income housing with leadership development component focused on service and civic engagement. And I am now the president of the National Alumni Council. So please excuse me if I get a little choked up here and there because the thug in me has died. If you see me gazing off, taking pictures, grabbing a video to freeze this moment in time right now or order, please don't judge me. Coming from a place where being a welfare recipient was a necessity of survival to being on the leadership council for the Aspen Forum for Community Solutions Opportunity Youth Incentive Fund, major service and opportunity givers. Even here at the Aspen Ideas Festival, the gathering of the great minds, I feel like I am on the mountaintop of service. It's becoming full circle in a way where I was a recipient and now I'm obligated to be a giver. I see the beauty of my struggles, the advancements, and how life has changed for me through service. But I acknowledge my surroundings. I see the other mountains, and I'm ready for the climb, and I'm gonna drink a lot of water.
And Jamil is also a newlywed, so. There are 7 million other young men and women like Jamil, and Youth Build provided a very intentional set of pathways for Jamil to become a successful member of our society. But we can do the same thing at scale for the other 7 million young men and young women, and we can do that intentionally. So that's why today I'm pleased to announce that the Opportunity Youth Incentive Fund is going to give up to $500,000 to 21 communities around the country, and we are proud to announce those countries today. Those communities today, and each of those countries. And each of those communities consists of collaboratives that I mentioned before, the private sector, the nonprofit sector, the philanthropies, and others who are working together to create and build those pathways. And those communities are, and maybe you'll hear your own, Atlanta, Georgia, Austin, Texas, Baltimore, Maryland, Boston, Massachusetts, Chicago, Illinois, I heard a little clapping for Chicago, Del Norte County, California, Denver, Colorado, Detroit, Michigan, Greenville, Mississippi, Hartford, Connecticut, Hopi, Arizona, Los Angeles, California, exactly, Southern rural Maine, New Orleans, Louisiana, New York, New York, Oakland, California, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, San Diego, California, San Jose, California, South King County, Washington, and Tucson, Arizona. And exactly, thank you. So in all, 21 communities, urban, rural, and tribal. So we're so proud of this work and our ability to go forward with those communities. I also want to acknowledge in the audience Steve Patrick, where are you, Steve, who's the executive director of this program, and would be happy to talk to any of you who are interested in the work that we're doing. And I also want to thank wholeheartedly not only our supporters, our funders, but also I want to thank Walter, and I want to thank Elliot and our entire Aspen family that has supported us over the course of the last year and allowed us to do this work. So thank you very much for allowing us to share this information with you today.